hypothetical viewers, and welcome back to Shining Force Sword of Hajya. We are kicking off chapter 2 here. We have to fight our way to King Emil's castle. The titular sword of Hajya was stolen by a gargoyle, which our new friend Lo shot down. It crash landed somewhere around here, but the sword is nowhere to be found, so we have to go to the castle to find out what happened to it. That was weird. I feel like maybe this is just me. I feel like there was a weirdly long pause before the music looped again. I was like, did the music stop? But maybe that's how it always is, and I just never noticed. I don't know. Okay. Oh, just kicking off this here battle. I would say one of my complaints with Warriors and in Shining Force in general, because I feel like all of the Shining Force games I've played, this is the fourth one that we're doing here. And I gotta do some work to level up our new buddy. He's only level 6, and most of our characters are 7 and 8, so we've got to make sure to get him a level or 2. But I want to make a point on this. The warriors are clearly supposed to be tankier than the other characters, and they do have high defense stats, but they tend to have lower HP as well, which really offsets the tankiness because they can't take as many hits anyway. So I'm always like, why did they bother doing that? Especially since it makes them much worse at fighting magic, which is by far the more dangerous thing. But yeah, that was just a stray thought as we checked in with Jaha there in that battle. I took a little break since recording the first chapter of this game because there wasn't any particular reason, honestly. I just was doing other stuff. But yeah, kicking off, getting into chapter 2 of 4. It's not a super long game. Mostly I got distracted playing a lot of Smash Bros. I've had it for a month, and I'm like, oh, she did not get the higher level spells yet. I guess we use freeze on this rat fly. I really think this was supposed to be a flying rat, and it just got translated as rat fly, because what it actually looks like is a flying, weird looking bat. It doesn't look like a fly or a rat, but at least maybe you could vaguely say it looks like a winged rat. It does not look like a fly. It is flying, but that's not the same as being a fly. That's quite separate. At least we got Slade a level, I guess. Because it's going to be a while before we have enough party members to drop anyone. He's usually not one of my permanent party members. Dawn generally is. She's really strong. Ken, it just depends on his, is his name actually Ken, or was that the name of the guy in the other game? That wasn't it? His name is Eric, that's right. Ken is the other, was the knight from Shining Force 1. They're all blending together a little. The funny thing is, I'm actually very bad with names in real life as well. Like, I frequently forget people's names or mix people up. So apparently, this is now starting to bleed into video games. Within a given game, I can usually keep people straight because video games are great because everyone has a very distinctive costume and hairstyle, and generally every time you see them, there's a label next to them. But between the different games, they're starting to blend, evidently. Yeah, I'll have him attack that. I want to make sure we get some action for Graham here, because I like to use our mounted archers, the bow knights. I like them a lot. Well, I guess they're called rangers in this game. But I like them a lot. I like my archers. And he usually turns out pretty good, so I want to make sure that we get him up to speed. Chester, the character we're going to recruit after this, that's our next recruit, I also generally use because I like archers a lot. Natasha is usually an endgame party member just because I like mages, even though mages, they do get less useful with time in this game, unfortunately. Can try and save him for a weaker character to finish off. But I just like mages a lot, so I always use them, even when they get less useful. Let's have him also attack the rat fly. But yeah, I got super into Smash Bros. Instead. I'm not good at Smash Bros, but it's pretty fun. I think I said this already previously, but yeah, this is the first time I've ever played a fighting game. I just was never super into them or anything as a kid, so I've literally never played one before. So this is a whole new world. A world of Smash. But But yeah, so it's been a bit of a learning curve because most of the types of games I play, I mean, as you can probably tell from the fact that I'm here playing tactics RPG, I tend to play a lot of turn-based games, or at least games that are not like action games where they're in real time. They're just I don't even really play real-time strategy games. My bro was into them when we were kids, but I always found them a little tedious. They're not as you don't have individual characters. I'm like, where are all my cool characters that I get to recruit? I also have never gotten into as much the like the Advance Wars style where like you don't have a set party, you build stuff every map because I really like the character recruitment aspect. It's probably not surprising that I grew up to be a big Fire Emblem fan. But Shining Force kind of has that vibe too, right? Where you have individual characters. And I play a lot of RPGs in general, which I play a lot of turn-based RPGs. So A, they don't require reaction time in any way, and B, I didn't forget about this Ratfly. I'm just saving him for the weak characters. Get a little X. But wow, Slade, you attacked twice and you still couldn't kill him. You are the healer. But yeah, they don't require you to have fast reaction time, and they also don't involve very many buttons, right? Like that sounds lulzy, but it's like an RPG. Usually you have like a joystick or D-pad, and then on your other hand, you have like two buttons, and that's really it. Maybe there's a button that opens the menu, but it's not a game where you have to have, press buttons in sequence, like combinations of buttons in order to do actions. They're just not. You're picking things from a menu. And even the very small number of action games I've played, like I play Zelda and stuff, but again, it's not a game with complex button combos or anything. It's really not. Um, I think the only action RPG I played, other than if Zelda counts, that is I played The Last Story on the Wii, and even that is like it's an action game, but it doesn't even have an attack button. You just auto attack when you're close enough to the enemy. So it's like a very low key action game. Good, we're getting Graham up to par already. We're just jumping right in here. But still it's about as much action game type stuff. Like I don't really play platformers that much. I think I played like one Mario game as a kid, the Game Boy one that was like it was Mario and the Seven some coins or something like that. You had to collect coins, I remember. But that's the only Mario game I played other than Mario Party. Um yeah, I don't like I don't even dislike platformers because I don't even have an opinion about them because I've played so incredibly few. I'm like they'd probably be fun, but for some reason I've just never picked one up, I guess. I just, as a kid I tended to play mostly RPGs, and even now as an adult, it's like, a lot of my favorite series are RPGs, so if I'm spending money on a game, funds are not infinite, probably I'm picking an RPG. So for that reason, I don't really play games that require reaction time that often, and I have never played any type of game where it was like press these buttons in sequence or simultaneously to achieve an action. It's pretty much always been like either you're picking something from a menu or it's like Zelda where it's like A does one thing, B does another thing. Not exactly complex. um, so playing Smash Bros, and the impression I've gotten, and again, I know very little about fighting games, so this is solely just the impression I've gotten from like reading people's opinions about this game who presumably know something about fighting games. That this is like a secondhand opinion. I do not even have the knowledge to judge, so take it in light of that. But yeah, the impression I've got is that Smash Bros is actually, compared to most fighting games, not that intensive in terms of its controls. It's pretty low key. But to me, like even just things where it's like, you have to like pressing like multiple buttons at once, like where if you're gonna do like I want to do like a Z grab or something, or like jump and Z grab or whatever. I'm like I need to press 3 different buttons in a short sequence and some of them simultaneously. That's new, and you have to be able to press all the buttons. So it's like you have your hands. Like I have my fingers like on the shoulder buttons and one's on the joystick and the other's on like the face buttons, and it's like wow, there's a lot going on here. Normally I just and you have to have precise timing to do things. And normally I have never played a game that required that. Not just normally, I have literally not played even one game that required that at all. So so yeah, for me it's not just a matter of learning Smash Bros, but the learning curve of like learning how to fighting game at all was It took me a while even just to get used to holding the joystick, my controller that way. Because normally, if I'm playing with the controller, I'm like super casual, just like, one thumb on the left stick, the other like on the A button, the rest of my fingers just kind of resting on the bottom of the controller. That's literally it. Pretty casual. Um, so like you need to be so this like a thing where it's like you gotta be ready to press any of these buttons at any moment. Is like let's do. Took a little while for me to get the hang of it, and I'm still not that good of it. I would not describe myself as someone who has good reaction time, like that kind of like Twitch reaction speed. I'm a slow bee, to be sure, but it is pretty fun. So I feel like I improved when I first picked it up. I was like the equivalent of the "How do I shot web" meme. Wow, Graham can already do pretty good damage. He might have the upgraded weapon already, because I think we're due for more weapons soon. But now I'm like, okay, I can kind of semi-competently do this. I'm like, I can beat some but not all battles of adventure mode, which is still pretty bad, but I'm like, hey, it is an improvement, I guess. So it's like baby steps. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that. I'm actually slightly stuck in adventure mode right now because the next two like paths are the battles at the end of both of them I couldn't beat yet. One of them is like you're fighting against three characters. You're fighting against Donkey Kong, Captain Falcon, and Diddy Kong. And also bullet bills are continually dropping onto the stage. And I'm not even dying to the enemies. I'm just dying to the bullet bills. I'm like, I feel like this stage requires you to be able to dodge correctly. And one of the things I'm really struggling with in Smash is using the shield and dodging. Because like I said, I am not really used to games where you have to do stuff like that. Like quickly press a specific button in sequence with other buttons. That is very new. So I'm really terrible at like even remembering that shield is an option that I have. Because it's like a very fast-paced game too. It's like, whoa, everything is happening very quickly, which I usually play turn-based games, which are incredibly slow. Case in point, this video where we're still lollygagging about fighting this rat. um, so I think in that one I'm like, you must have to just like dodge them or shield or something and not get hit by the bullet bills. But I have not managed to do that and keep just losing spectacularly. They even like juggle you. You get hit by one bullet bill, and then while you're recovering, you get hit by another one. Just too many bullet bills. Big problem. And the other one I feel like shouldn't. The funny thing is, the other one I have fought on the spirit board. Because in Smash Bros. Ultimate, in addition to like the like adventure single player mode, you can also fight spirits on just the spirit board to get new ones. And I fought the same battle there, and I beat it there. And the reason is because on the spirit board you have access to every character you have unlocked, whereas in adventure mode you can only use the ones that you've met in adventure mode. And so my preferred character is not currently available in where I've gotten to in adventure mode. The one that I actually used to beat the fight. So I think that might actually be why I'm failing, because I'm like, I'm not doing great with these character options I have available. I have not managed to unlock any of the characters that I like actually know how to use at all. But yeah, I'm stuck on. It's a fight with Ganondorf, but he has super armor and is hard to flinch, and jumping is reduced for all characters. So the way that I beat it on the spirit board was I used a projectile character and just like spam from range, and then when he gets close, dodge roll through him and play keep away. Which I don't know if that's like the correct way to beat him or whatever, but it worked. He does a lot of damage, and since you can't flinch him, like every time you're attacking, you have basically, I think with any other with a melee character, you'd have to like basically quickly duck in, like use an attack and run away before he can hit you, which I'm bad at basically because I don't have very good reaction time. But yeah, so I am struggling a lot with him on the adventure mode because of this. But apparently, I'm at least heartened that I can beat him, just only with certain characters. I'm thinking that maybe what I should try doing is practice a little with Simon and try him because he does have projectiles. The character I used on the spirit board was Young Link, who I've mostly used because played all of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask as a kid. So there's the nostalgia factor. And being a projectile spammer is fun, but I don't have him in adventure mode. I have not managed to get many projectiles spam characters in general. So I was trying with like adult Link, Breath of the Wild Link, and I just had too much trouble getting away from his attacks. I like wasn't fast enough, I guess. And I think that's me having bad reaction time, not like the character can't do it. I'm sure you could do it with literally anyone if you're actually good at Smash, which I'm not. Man, Slade's getting so many double attacks. Has the need for speed today. He's trying to earn himself a place in the party. But yeah, I might want to try it with Simon. I will say, I like that Smash Ultimate has so many modes that you can do single player, even if you don't have anyone else to play with, or you don't feel like playing online. Or, as is so common in our new pandemic lifestyles, if your internet connection is having serious issues and you keep getting dropped, so you can't get into a match. It's nice that it has so many different things to do when you're playing by yourself. Because it's like, let's be real. This was definitely the story of my entire childhood playing video games. I'm sure it's the case for many others as well. Sometimes you have nobody to play with you, so you're just the only person. Either you're the only person you know who plays video games, or no one else wants to play that specific game. So it's nice when games acknowledge that that is the case and give you something else to do when you're the one player. But yeah, I've heard that in like more traditional fighting games, unlike in Smash where mostly you're pressing like maybe two buttons at once tops, like like if you're doing like a smash attack or like side B or something. Apparently in most fighting games you're doing like combos where it's like quarter circle back A, B, A, or I don't know. You can see I've never played any of them or something like that, and to actually make your moves happen, which sounds much more difficult. But yeah, it's like this is a new experience for me, a new genre of game. I do feel like I should probably try playing, a platformer just at some point, like in my life, just because I literally never have, and it's like, it's obviously a very popular genre of game, but one of the most famous, Mario, very famous game, platformer. So platformers, one of the most recognizable genres, I'd say. But I've just it's not like I've never played one. I did play that one Mario game as a kid, but that's really it. And I'm like, I should play one at least one more time. But I don't know what's a good one if you don't know that much about platformers, because a lot of the ones that kind of get big, like indie platformers and stuff that I see people talking about and stuff, a lot of them are advertised as being like, this is a super challenging platformer for people who love platformers, and I'm like, I haven't played a platformer since I was a small child, and it wasn't very difficult, so I feel like I would have no idea what to do in this game. I need a platformer for like people who've never really done much with them but would like to see what they're like. Just kind of a baby's first platformer. Surely there's a market for that. You'd think there'd be games for it. But yeah, I've sort of gotten the impression that platformers maybe are like a genre where there's a lot of people who are super hardcore into platformers and want like ultra hard platformers. So it seems kind of hard to get into it if you've never played any. It's hard to get the gist. Yeah, it's tough to buy a game that you don't really know what it'll be like that much, because then if you don't really enjoy it and you end up not playing it that much, it's just like, oh, I wasted my money. Now that I'm an adult, and I have to earn money via my job, I try a little harder not to waste it. Although I was actually not wasteful as a child either. I just try not to spend my money too frivolously. Oh, nice, we finally got the level 2 spell. So, like, if I'm gonna buy a game, I want to be reasonably confident that I actually will like it and will play a decent amount of it, so that it's like, this was a good use of funds. Which is tough with like a genre that I don't know, and B, you know, if it's indies, which there's loads of indie platformers that are very getting a lot of acclaim, but you know, if it's a game where it's like I don't know anything else by this specific developer or like from this same IP, and I mean, I'm actually gonna try and give the kill to someone else. Graham's already level 8. He did well. I think he has the upgraded weapon, but you know, and I don't know the genre at all. Then it's so much harder to judge whether like I'm gonna enjoy it and play it a lot of it. But so this is my just giving you some insight into my thought process as I buy games. Plus, you know what the tough thing is too, that and I realize this is one of those like if this is your main if this is your main like problem in life, then you have a good life. So I'm not complaining about it, but like if I buy too many games, the amount of free time to play I have doesn't increase. So I'm like I only have so much time to play games, so I want to save it for games that I like super love, not just a game where I'm like it's okay. Um but as a result, I am a little more, you know, hesitant to you know, just try my luck on a total unknown title that I don't know anything about, unless I know someone, you know, like who's like, oh, this game was really good, I liked it, and I'm like, oh, based on, you know, like you get advice from a friend, because then you're like, okay, that's valid, you know, it's not a guess. You have to make sure it's a friend that you have similar tastes to, though, because I bought a game this is a couple years back, and I'm still annoyed by it. I bought this game because a guy in my gaming group at the time was like, this game's super great. Is if you like Final Fantasy, you'll love this game. You know, I totally love it. And I was like, you know, why not? I'll give it a try. And I really did not enjoy it. It is one of the few games I have that I haven't finished because I usually try to finish the games I buy because, you know, they cost money. Want to get fair usage out of them. But I got all the way to the end and I was just like, I just hate this game so much. I don't think I could force myself to finish it. So you have to make sure the person giving the recommendation has similar taste to you. Because otherwise, you may have some regrets. I've said nothing about what's actually going on screen, but like, it's a tactics RPG. We're fighting a battle. Oh, I think we just won. I actually didn't mean to kill that guy yet, but I didn't realize Jaha would attack twice. Oh no, we actually apparently have to kill every single person. Okay, I was hoping to let Slade heal again, but he could also die, so I guess we'll just attack. Oh, well, I guess we won't beat it anyway. Oh, we'll. Might as well bust out Freeze. This could actually kill it. Very nice. Well, Slay is lagging behind, but, you know, it's hard to keep the healer up to level. I didn't manage to use all of his heals, though. Whoops. I should have healed more often. What's happening here? That soldier, he was a monster! This is another Shining Force game that never really explains, like, why all the people we're fighting are just random monsters. I guess they're summoned by Ion, but it's like, are there no, like, normal soldiers in any of these places? Maybe it's because at the time it was like, oh, you know, like, censorship policies. We can't have a game where you're fighting like humans. I don't know. But anyway, this is Chester, our new party member. Are you the Cypress army? You must have been surprised to find Emil's soldiers possessed by monsters. So, what does this mean? I know, it's like, why are you trying to understand the lore of this game? But I want to understand the lore of this game. But, does that mean that the monsters we're fighting are, like, human beings that are possessed and turned into monsters? In which case, we're just running around murdering a bunch of people, basically. Or is this a bad translation and the Chester really means, like, imprisoned or, like, under the control of or something, in the sense that they were trapped in the castle? It's... Well, when the guy first talked to Chester in the cutscene before this battle, he did look like a soldier, and then he turned into a monster, so the game doesn't really explain it in that much detail. We were a little surprised. I would say more than a little, honestly. We showed up and these random monsters tried to murder us. So Iam set a trap for us here and waited. What a dirty trick. They have no honor. It seems fairly smart, honestly. Gotta give them credit where credit's due. I guess that's why they'd steal the sword of Hajya. the text is in yellow, so you know it's important, which really doesn't seem that important in this game where this is apparently the only important thing. Well, it's all over now. May we have the sword back? The King of Emil has your sword. Please make yourself comfortable while I speak with the king. And by make yourself comfortable, I guess Chester means wait out here in the woods. Oh no, we're going to camp. Okay, well, we still have 5 minutes, so let's, we can talk to, did we already talk to Graham? I'm not sure. Let's talk to new friend Graham. I hate bullies and liars. I don't forgive them. I guess that's how he feels about Iom, I'm assuming. Well, that's cool. We're doing pretty well here level-wise. We have... Oh, I should have had Eric attack more. I was sort of like, I don't want him to get too over-leveled, but he wasn't. Well, he'll catch up soon. Slade will get him to... Oh, and Ben actually fell behind a little too. Oops. But yeah, we're mostly at level 7 and 8, and Luke jumped ahead to 9. So everyone's doing quite well. Okay, and we have a shop for the first time in a while. And I believe that we have new weapons for everyone. We do. Okay, good. So let's use these last minutes of the video for a shopping spree. You know, I've completely lost track of what I was talking about before. I just slipped out on me mind. Oh right, platformers. Yeah, I was talking about platformers. Yeah, this spear is not a ranged weapon, so we will not sell the lance rather. So we'll keep the spears for now. But yeah, it's hard to get into. Oh yeah, we gotta. No, we'll do that later. It can be tricky to get into either new like IPs and new genres of game, especially just because like, you know, it is an investment not only of your money but of your time when you're gonna set out on a new game. So sometimes, you know, naturally one might be like, well, I want to save it for something I know I'll like. Oh wow, Graham actually didn't even have an upgraded weapon. He's just really good. That's excellent. Okay, so now we'll sell some stuff, but I should try a platform at some point. I mean, I feel like there are also, at least you have the. Can she use the staff too? I should check in a bit. You know, at least there are also like indie platformers that are not super long, so like it's not an investment of like 100 hours just to play through it. So I should try it at some point. But you know, it's there's just, you know, there's only so much time in the day. So maybe if I see one that seems really appealing, but it's just that so many, like I said, so many of them are like, oh, this is like a super hard platformer that will satisfy the platformer, you know, lovers, and I'm like, I don't know whether I like them or not because I've never really played them, so I feel like that's not the one to start with. Slade has such a crappy attack. I know he's a healer, but he's a bit of a load. Okay, good. So we got us. Oh wait, I wanted to sell the old weapons. One sec. Yeah, I should try that at some point. Should I use some of these items? I don't want to just save them the whole game and then be like, why did I save them? I have powerful wine and quick chicken and cheerful bread. Term to term. I don't even have all the characters yet though. I mean, you can't go wrong using stuff on the main character, obviously. Like, you're gonna have to use them the whole game. You know it's good, right? Well, main character is a tiny bit lacking in attack, I would say. Just a little. And is not actually that speedy, so you know what? And doesn't have that much HP. Let's use all of these items on main character. Like that actually makes total sense. To just, you know, we need the main character to be able to stay on par with the rest of the force. And, you know, we're gonna use them all the time. But literally, we are required to use them in every battle. And the main character needs to not die, or we lose the battle, so making Ben stronger does seem like the smart play here. Okay, and so now, And like this didn't even make Ben overpowered or something. It really just made him on par with some of our, in terms of attack, basically on par with every, and even agility. He's basically just on par now, which is quite good. Um, I think the cutscene for the next battle is a little long, so we'll cut it here. I'm gonna just, um, yeah. Thank you for watching, hypothetical viewers. If any viewers ever do exist and listen to this entire rambling video of my opinions on fighting games and platformers, that is certainly impressive. And, you know, my gratitude goes out towards you, hypothetical viewer who listened to this whole thing. Uh, I hope you at least were able to enjoy watching Graham level up and that you're looking forward to the next battle in which we will recruit new friend Chester and add to our army. So that will be very exciting. And that will happen in the next episode of Shining Force Sword of Hajya.